OC World is made possible by the generous contributions of Marisla Foundation, Keith and Judy Swain Family Foundation, Wells Fargo Bank, the University of California, Irvine, Orange County Community Foundation, Santiago Canyon College, Farmers and Merchants Bank, and viewers like you. Thank you.
This song says, no matter who you are, no matter where you go in your life, at some point you're gonna need somebody to stand by you. Oh yeah, oh my darling, stand by me, no matter who you are.
Playing for Change was a viral video that roughly 20 years ago had a great message about the power and awe of music and philanthropy. It has been viewed more than 200 million times, and it started with the great Ben E. King classic song, Stand By Me, and it featured musicians from around the world. It was one of two videos that back then inspired me to produce my first documentary short about my friend Dave Holland McMahon, long since passed, who was homeless and living on the streets of Laguna Beach. I also produced a companion benefit CD titled Shelter Me for Friendship Shelter, a long-established emergency shelter for homeless adult men and women.
Somebody said to me once, a homeless person is a homeless person is a homeless person until you meet one. Are we rolling, Bob? Well, the icicles drip from the rooftop. Horses whisper over the field. No steam shovel hides from the wind. Beside a rusted out automobile. I started listening to his songs, and I realized very quickly that his songwriting ability is just tremendous. I was listening to the lyrics. I'd talk to him about the song and the meaning behind the lyrics, etc. And it got me sort of inspired about this whole sort of issue of homelessness. And somebody asked me, what's your life like? You know, living on the road, the street. I said I wake up every morning, like Christmas morning, like I'm 5 years old, because I get to play music. I had one experience in this gazebo that was great. This little old man must have been in his 80s or maybe 90. He walked in, he scowled at me. He gave me the dirtiest look. And I just kind of sat there, you know, right here. And then he went over and he looked at the ocean. I don't know if he was really looking at it, but he was staring out there. And I started just playing a little instrumental. I think it was like this, you know. And I saw his foot start going like this. And I go, gotcha, gotcha. You didn't even know it, but I got you.
Much to my delight, I had the opportunity to interview two visionaries who continue to raise funds to support music and arts programs in schools both locally and globally. Alec Glasser, owner of the Drake Restaurant in Laguna Beach and founder of the Drake Gives, and Jake Groshong, CEO of the Playing for Change Foundation.
So the original video of Playing for Change was Stand By Me, right? Stand By Me came out over 20 years ago, and this music producer named Mark Johnson had this idea that if he went around the world and recorded all these street musicians together on one song, it would create an extremely powerful message for peace through music, right? The problem was he didn't have a producer to help him do that, and he didn't have any additional funding. He met this woman named Whitney Cronkey. They're both in their early 20s, and she was interested in being a producer as well. They come together. She helps support this vision. They travel around the globe recording musicians all over. They have this guy in New Orleans who's the lead singer on it that they discover as a musician, and you know, his messaging is that he's in the joy business, right? And like that really became kind of a feeling of what this video was, that this is going to bring joy to millions around the world. And then it turned out it was actually billions around the world that were going to appreciate this video and find something in it. It became one of the first viral videos, and everything that Playing for Change is now is actually built out of this one Stand By Me video that had, you know, a dozen musicians around the globe singing a song that everybody already knows. The idea is that music is this uniting force for all of us, right? And that's really what our foundation is about. It's that we can get everyone to come together through music. It's our one universal language. It's something that everybody speaks, right? Whether we recognize it or not, everyone can connect through music. And when you take an issue like homelessness or the environment, whatever it might be, and you first start with music, where everyone comes together, we actually have a basis to start solving the problem. And that's what our programs do around the globe time and time again, is you bring these communities together that really don't have anything, but then you give them back their culture and their music, and then suddenly we have a starting point to solve the problem that got them there in the first place.
At what point did it go from just that video and music and the CDs to becoming now a foundation?
The video came out over 20 years ago. About 5 years after that was released, they started the foundation. This is before my time, but the first program was in South Africa. Basically what had happened was they found all this success through the video, all these views, all this attention, and they were trying to figure out how they could incorporate that into something that would give back to the youth that they were trying to serve in the first place. And the foundation was started because they were in South Africa recording a musician, and the guy they were talking to said, "I need music here for my community or it's going to die." And he said, "I have space here in the back of my house to start a school." And they talked about it, and they launched that school, and then they launched another one, and then another one, and now we have over 50 of them in 20 countries around the globe.
I see the websites.
Yeah.
I see the videos.
Mm-hmm.
I see the big name musicians,
Yeah,
songwriters
sure.
participating. Can you talk a little bit about how that structure works and how
Yeah.
that works to help raise funds for the foundation?
Yeah, you know, it all happens very organically, and part of that is the videos, right? The videos started featuring some major artists after a few years because they got this notoriety, and other people wanted to help, right? So we were very lucky to have people like, you know, Bono and Peter Gabriel and all these major artists come through to help out. And there's no set way in which we do it. We're not out there just blatantly asking all these artists to help. It's just we'll run into someone, you know, a manager, an agent, or the artist themselves and say, "Would you want to be in one of these videos?" And they generally say yes. Because I think part of what we offer is these major artists out there now get to just be a musician again in these videos. They're one of 20 other artists, you know, mainly street musicians, getting featured on a song. And I think sometimes it's important to remember we're all just people. And this is a chance to just be a person among people.
In terms of the actual fundraising efforts, how do you raise funds for the organization or the foundation?
Mm-hmm. So we have this great relationship with the videos, right? So we have the .com side, right, as you mentioned. They make the videos. We get a large percentage of income that comes through those to the foundation, right? But the vast majority of our fundraising is done through events and partnerships. So I'm throwing an event almost every month now, somewhere around the world, as a fundraiser. I'm going to one, this week in Miami, and have one next month here in LA. It really has become this engine of good that we kind of have it figured out on how to get the right people together and create these events where people can understand the impact of what we do and how special it is that you can come together, you can be with your musical heroes if you want, and you can change the lives of thousands of youth around the world through music.
When you go to the fundraising efforts, when you go through the grant process, what would you say is the major pitch you make that seems to resonate with the people who are supporting your organization?
Yeah, the number one thing for us that I think separates us a lot from other nonprofits is that every program we open is individually designed for the community that it's in. So we're not coming in and saying, here's your curriculum, here's your head of the program, here's some teachers. It's that we're identifying local leaders, local musicians, and we're building out that program with people the community already trusts. And we're helping them develop their curriculum with our curriculum experts, right? We're helping get them attention through our social media and major artists that we work with, our ambassadors. And we're helping to drive that community forward through music, right? Then we're obviously adding a dance program, whatever the cultural dance is, and then if they want hip hop, they get hip hop. If they want to have English classes, they'll have English classes. Whatever it is, we're not going in and saying, here's what you need. We're going in and saying, hey, what do you need? Let us help you get it.
The Playing for Change Foundation recently partnered on a program in Uganda where they built $1 million arts center in the middle of a camp for roughly 300,000 refugees.
We're able to do that because we're focusing on individual community needs. And honestly, in a refugee camp, what you need is the ability to know that everyone there has value. So we wanted to give them something that every kid here would have access to, at least hopefully has access to, because they have nothing, and now they have something.
You mentioned curriculum and curriculum experts, and I teach part-time, so I understand curriculum and I understand outcomes, right? How does your organization determine the outcomes of the efforts you're putting into those communities?
Yeah, we have a very strong reporting process now for each program. We call them our admin docs, and every program has to fill out attendance. We're identifying the issues the community is facing and how we're going to measure that. So, in eastern Nepal, you're talking sex trafficking, and in southern Brazil, you're talking gang violence. In Mexico, it's going to be drug related. Whatever it is that community has been really plagued with, we're measuring the statistic that the level the kids have to deal with that issue, right? And how successful they're being in dealing with it. So I would say our measurement has gotten quite strong now. But because we haven't really started the measurement process until just a couple of years ago, I think we'll have really strong data. And we're looking to partner more with universities to really develop that data and figure out the long-term solutions.
It's not always then just about the music.
No, it starts with music. That's the key. When we say that, right? Music is the key. But then every single time, it's about impact, right? We're not there to just say, hey, learn music and go on with your life. If we were, that'd still be very valuable. Music is incredibly important. It gives us ways to advance our education in a multitude of subjects. It gives us ways to have something to draw on. I mean, who hasn't, after a bad breakup, been jamming in their car to the saddest breakup song in the world and felt a little better, Everyone needs music in their life. Can you imagine if we didn't have music in movies and how boring movies could be, But the reality is, music is just a tool that we use to then get to something where the next generation is going to have a chance.
In this country, I think you had mentioned you're now currently serving 3 different communities. Could you define those communities and if you have any plans for expansion in the U.S.?
So the first one I mentioned already, it's Pine Ridge in South Dakota. then the one then we have two in Miami, because Miami has become kind of a second home for us. Half our board members live in Miami. We throw a lot of our major fundraisers in Miami. So one is with Maluma, who's one of the largest Latin artists in the world. We partnered with another local nonprofit called Young Musicians Unite, and work in about 30 different public schools in Miami, as well as we sponsored a recording studio there that's really incredible, where kids who become quite advanced through this program, and they do become unbelievable musicians, have a chance to record their college auditions. They have a chance to record songs they write, put them out on Spotify. It's a really special place. And then we also opened another one with Alonzo Mourning's foundation called Overtown Youth Center, and we partnered with DJ Khaled's foundation, We the Best, as well. And it's a program, they just built this multi-million-dollar facility there for their nonprofit. It's extraordinary. And we're running the music part of that program. So they have a full after-school program for about 500 kids. And there we have recording studio, incredible teachers, dance, everything for Overtown, which is, I believe, the poorest community in Miami.
So California, though, you don't have a community you're reaching out to yet. And here we are at the Drake restaurant in Laguna Beach.
Yes.
Alec Glasser, owner here, we'll talk to a little bit later.
Yeah.
Is California the type of environment that would be conducive to this sort of programming as well?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that one thing we're very conscious of is we want everything to come through organically. And when we find those right partners with the right opportunity, we'll absolutely move forward and make it happen. What we don't ever want to do is say, hey, we're coming to California, and negatively affect all the incredible music nonprofits already working here, right? So we're only going to come in when the situation is correct and we're invited to come in the right way. But we absolutely want to open in California. I know we're also targeting New Orleans this year to have a new program open in. So we definitely want to continue expanding across the United States.
Alec Glasser is owner of the Drake Restaurant in Laguna Beach, a fine dining and music experience with a New York-style club setting. Several years ago, he founded the Drake Gives, a foundation that serves as a local vehicle to help raise funds for music and the arts in underserved communities across Southern California, including the elementary and high school districts of Anaheim, with mostly low-income and first-generation immigrant refugees, roughly 10% of whom are classified as homeless by federal standards.
And the Drake Gives is focused on bringing music, the attention of music to underserved kids to learn how music can improve their lives. I learned music when I was in public school in New York City, played saxophone, clarinet, little flute, and it was a launching point for me as a young man. It allowed me to participate socially, cognitively learning lessons. Music lessons was an incredible part of my development, and I wanted to be able to bring that experience to kids that wouldn't ordinarily have that experience. That was the point of it.
So last year you held two major fundraising events.
We had, we opened the Drake Gives. We launched it in 2021. Since that time, we've had 4 or 5 events. We partnered with Save the Music Foundation, which does exactly what we wanted to do, and they do the boots on the ground work. We partner with them, and we did programs that funded needs in the LA school districts and the Orange County school districts. In Orange County, we focused on the Anaheim Elementary School and their high school district. We've raised about a little over $500,000.
For you, you're 2 years or 3 years into the process, right? And you're developing now new sort of relationships with, for example, the University of California, Irvine. Can you talk a little bit about that relationship, maybe starting with the scholarship program?
Sure. Well, it was a natural fit. It's here in Orange County. UCI is a very dominant center for music and the arts in Southern California, in Orange County. So it was an organic evolution where I met people at UCI, the dean, John Gould, and one of the professors there, Richard Matthew, who's deeply involved with music. And we formed a relationship which started with scholarships. So the Drake Gives provides $100,000 a year for scholarships for kids, not necessarily that they want to go into a music career, but they see music as part of their path professionally.
Alec has also pledged $1.5 million to the development of a new undergraduate initiative at UCI, an actual Center for the Power of Music. That's interesting to me. I've never heard of that sort of relationship before between a private individual and the university creating what is really a new program or curriculum. Is it a center, building, multiple faculty? Is it one class? What is the collaboration there?
Oh, it's a full collaboration. We have dedicated space, office space on campus. There'll be a director of it. There is a director of it. And then there'll be staff. And the idea is that this is an ongoing effort on campus. Hopefully there will be a building at some point in time, but right now it's just dedicated space.
And the curriculum, is that class curriculum? They're actually teaching now new courses. And do you know if those courses are already in progress, developed, or in the preliminary stages?
We're developing the curriculum right now. The idea is to integrate this curriculum sometime toward the end of 2024, and then ongoing from there. So it'll be a course, number one, but then the idea is to create a minor in the power of music. You know, music is a very interesting thing. You know, it's when you bring people together just to dine, they have more of an individualized dining experience. But when you add the music at the level that we do, the room comes together in a lot of ways because of the music. The food sustains them, but the music lifts them up. And so this is a very joyous experience. So I love the Drake restaurant and what it provides, but the Drake Gives is the way to expand that beyond the four corners of this restaurant into the community at large.
Have you had the opportunity to see the students receive the instruments, the lessons, the recording studios, and what sort of was your, what are your impressions when you see that?
Oh yeah, it's really wonderful. We have a very strong relationship locally with the Anaheim school districts, and so I go personally down to see the kids from time to time. I sit in on these third grade classes and fifth grade classes, and now we're going into the high school, so that's a different experience. But the kids, just to look on their face and the energy in the room and watch them learn how to play an instrument and work together as a team is really inspiring. It's a joy for me.
Tell me a little bit about the power and awe of music in our daily lives.
Yeah. You know, it surrounds us so much more than we think. And it's not even always just music. I mean, or what we consider music. It's, you know, right, like it's the traffic noise. It's the lights and the sound they're creating for us in the room. We're incorporating it in every part of our lives, these rhythms, these feelings we have, the comfort we get from them, whether we recognize it or not. If we didn't have music, imagine how boring our lives would be. You know, all our entertainment is built with music. We wouldn't have television shows, we wouldn't have movies, we wouldn't have radio. Like, it would be a pretty rough existence. But more so than that, I think that music, especially for a young person, is absolutely vital. In this, in those teenage years, how important does music become for us? It's like the center of our world. It gives us our identity, and that lasts through our life, right? Most of us still look back at the songs we listened to when we were 16, 17, 18 as the best songs ever written, right? We still listen to this day because the development, the age we're at when we most care about music is something that sticks with us for our entire life and something that we're not providing to communities that are in trouble. And just by us going in and providing that one thing, giving them back their culture and giving them back their music, it's not just that they have the ability to have a future, it's that they believe in their ability to have a future.
Could have done without today. Could have done without today. I ain't got a lot to say for once. Could have done without today. Lord, I woke up this morning on the dark side of the bed. Ran a bit of water through it. Sneezed, stubbed my toe and bumped my head. Passing through the hallway mirror, I should have never stepped in. A little voice inside my head said, oh my God, not you again. Beneath the chair that once held your overcoat, yes, I found a little love note you wrote. It was obviously addressed to me, so long we tried. Goodbye. So I tried to drown my sorrow in a bottle of gin. Lord, it's a drag to discover sorrow can swim